Democrats are acting like cheating boyfriends right now. I'm sorry, but somebody's got to say it. I'm independent. I think there's good ideas on both sides, there's bad ideas on both sides. But what this Doge audit is reminding me of is like a girl taking her boyfriend's phone and like hiding in the bathroom. And the Democrats are just banging on the door and they're like, "You are invading my privacy. You can't go through my phone." And Elon Musk is like, "Yes, I can. I can see what you've been up to." And then every time Musk comes out of the bathroom, he's like, "Look, see what you did?" They just turn it around and they're like, "You invaded my privacy. This was your fault. You broke my trust." Democrats are acting like.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the fine program. I am your host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. I agree. That was so true. That was so true. You're invading my privacy. Stop invading my privacy. It's like the problem here is that it's not Elon Musk who's the girlfriend. It's the entire American public who is like the girlfriend, who's like, what? 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 What are you talking about? What the heck are you talking about? Oh my God. Oh my God. Such a great analogy. Such a great analogy. Good job. I don't know who that woman is. I don't know. I don't see any credit. But that's just a phenomenal analogy. Anyway, today it's almost like you have to be a lawyer to actually read the news today. Just to understand basic stuff. There's so much breaking down as far as this TRO, that TRO. They're in Rhode Island, they're in New York, they're in DC, they're everywhere. They're filing another application and another application in New Hampshire. There's just one application after another to try and get in the way of Trump's executive orders and say, you can't do this. Stop it. Stop firing people. Stop being so executive as the chief executive. We don't like this whole thing about you being executive. And it seems as if they're sort of playing their hand early. Look, let's face it. If you're a Democrat and you're screaming, this is not what people voted for, you clearly didn't even you weren't really following what the election was about, because this is exactly what everyone was voting for. This is you should be giving no political opinion at all, because you clearly cannot, you don't even bother assessing what 77 million people wanted. You have no idea. And you're coming in here weighing in with your opinion. Why are you bothering? This is exactly what we all wanted. We all wanted a return to normalcy. We all wanted accountability. We all wanted to find some way of getting our budget into some alignment. When Kamala was talking about, how her plan, her economic plan was much more beneficial, I guarantee you this, she wasn't going to be slicing stuff the way Trump seems dedicated out of the gate of just slicing things left and right. So much so now we see the two game plans are complain that it's unconstitutional and that he's breaking the law and you're not allowed to do this, to it, like basically obviously executive decisions that he's making, and saying, how this is totally my privacy, my privacy. And then the second strategy is basically, let's just try and drown him in paper. This is the drown him in paper strategy, frankly, may have worked with Trump 45. This is not working with Trump 47. I'll tell you right now, Trump 47 is totally prepared. Bring on the paper, all the paper you want, because you want to know something? While they're busy working on some new motion, he's got like a workaround. This guy came into office this time around. He is a political animal. This guy understands exactly. It's like, oh, remember when Schumer said the FBI has 6 ways to Sunday to come after you? And that's true. And the reason they had that is because the government has very broad discretionary powers, and there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. Well, I'll tell you something. Donald Trump is displaying that he understands that there's 6 ways to Sunday to get your objective done. And he seems very determined to get that done. That's why you have, it feels like the entire remnants of the Democratic Party, whoever is still, not too embarrassed to associate with being labeled a Democrat, throwing the full weight, like in unified chorus, trying to come after Trump and his appointees and his agenda and his objectives, trying to stalwart him, whether they're activists, congressmen, senators, judges, idiots online, or just generic TDS sufferers. They're throwing everything. Just throw. And coming up, deuces. I mean, just snake eyes. Snake eyes. You want to know why? Because while they're busy writing it, as soon as they file it, they read it and they're like, okay, all right, we know they're probably filing at a place where they're going to get some woke activist judge. Let's find some way around it. And then he writes another. They just need to write like another 3-paragraph EO. And here's another way around it. And here's another way around it. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Today there were 5, according to one guy's count, Kyle Cheney, who's a writer for Politico, that news agency, which is very, very troubled by the idea that USAID is being slashed. Well, this is what we had. He was very proud of the fact that there was 5 different TROs that were signed off by judges today that one way or another impacted executive orders that have been issued by President Donald Trump, number 47. So this is what happened on Friday. Listen, I want to give you an example as to how Trump is just working on different levels. This is just working on different levels. You probably didn't see this. You probably have not seen this yet. Trump administration on Friday was temporarily blocked from placing 2,200 USAID workers on paid leave. This was Friday. A federal judge on Friday temporarily blocked the Trump administration from placing 2,200 employees of the U.S. Agency for International Development, commonly known as USAID, on paid leave. So when he was trying to get rid of United States AIDS and trying to excise that disease from America, and he was blocked on Friday temporarily, U.S. District Court Judge Carl Nichols, who was nominated by President Donald Trump, sided with 2 federal employee associations and agreed to a pause in plans to put the employees on paid leave as of midnight Friday. I just want to tell you, in case you're not familiar who Carl Nichols is, I've seen Carl Nichols in action. I've seen this guy try a case. Yes, I have watched him live in person in a trial that I covered that nobody cared about. Total waste of my time. But he serves in the Perriman building down in District of Columbia. Doesn't matter if you appointed judge, if he's appointed by Trump. You go into that infested waters of DC, and you're just going to become some woke hack. So Judge Carl Nichols is the judge who presided over the case of the United States versus Steve Bannon. That trial that I actually sat in for 3 days. 3 days of tortuous, just shady argument, logic, questioning, everything about that. That was when Steve Bannon was being charged with ignoring the subpoena that had been issued by the J6 Select Committee. Judge Carl Nichols basically took the defense and shredded any possible answer that he was allowed to submit to basically make the trial a complete waste of everyone's time, because it was a predetermined outcome based on the rulings that he had made walking into the trial. But anyhow, I digress. That's the Judge Carl Nichols that they love saying, Donald Trump nominated Judge Carl Nichols. Sided with two federal employee associations in agreeing to a pause in plans to put the employees on pay leave as of midnight Friday. The Workers Association argued that Trump lacks the authority for a swift dismantling of a 6-decade-old agency. 6 decade? Really? No, I guess 1961. Yeah, it's 6 decades. Okay, that's correct. Enshrined in congressional legislation. Quote, close it down, Trump said Friday on social media of U.S. aides. Crews used duct tape to block out the agency's name on a sign outside. They put duct tape over the sign. Oh, my God. It's like I say woe unto anyone who is not alive today. I say woe unto anybody who has the misfortune of not being alive today. Whether they lived in, ancient Greece or sometime hundreds of years from now. You don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're missing. The president having duct tape put over his own executive agency. Oh my God, this is so good. This is so good. Woe unto these people. Well, anyway. Outside his Washington headquarters Friday, a flag was taken down. Someone placed a bouquet of flowers outside the door. Oh my God. The age of trolling. The age of trolling. Oh, thank you, God, for giving me this job. A group of half-dozen U.S. AIDS officials speaking to reporters Friday strongly disputed assertions from Secretary of State Marco Rubio that the most essential life-saving programs abroad were getting waivers to continue. With all but several hundred staffers forced out and funding stopped, the agency has ceased to exist, one official on the call said. The Trump administration billionaire ally Elon Musk, who is running a budget-cutting Department of Government Efficiency, which they've relabeled and they call it Department of Government Evil. Ooh, have targeted USAID hardest so far in an unprecedented challenge of the federal government and many of its programs. All right. Administration told remaining USAID officials on Thursday afternoon that it planned to exempt 297 employees from global leave and furloughs ordered for at least 8,000 staffers and contractors, according to USAID staffers and officials. Late that night, a new list was finalized of 611 employees who remain on the job, many of them to manage the return home of thousands of staffers. So they're really not there like long. They're just there to make sure everyone gets home safely. Contractors and families abroad, the officials said. Justice Department lawyer Brett Shoemake confirmed the 611 figure in court. The USAID officials and staffers spoke on condition of anonymity due to a Trump administration order barring them from talking publicly. Some of the remaining staffers, contractors, along with the unknown number of 5,000 locally hired employees abroad, would run the few life-saving programs that the administration says it intends to keep going for now. So this was Friday. That was the news Friday. So he was blocked. He was blocked from being able to do this. Judge said, you can't fire him. Can't fire him. They need to keep working. These folks need to keep working. Well, you see, that didn't sit well with President Donald Trump, number 47. He's like, I don't want these folks working. I don't want them setting foot in the building again. So what does he do? What is he going to do? He got a judge is ordering him. What's he going to do? How does he stop them? How does he stop them from working? He's like, I don't want them working here. What's he going to do? Everyone on the left is all excited. Ha, 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 ha. Judge got in the way of Trump and his order. Really? Really? Well, then you had this today. He's working on levels they never even dreamed of. Trump administration takes U.S. aid off its building lease. Whoops. Oh my God. So you got all these employees who are like showing up and saying, we're coming to work today. It's like, you might be coming to work, but there's no building for you to work in anymore. Scores of U.S. Agency for International Development staffers who showed up for work Monday at Washington headquarters were turned away after the Trump administration stripped the aid agency of its lease. Sorry, doors are locked. You're not under lease anymore. Go find somewhere else to work. This dude is on so many levels. They think you think you're going to stop him? You think you're going to stop Donald Trump? Let me explain something to you, Shirley. You threw 4 indictments at him. I don't even know how many civil suits. There was like 2 or 3 for like this charge or that charge with the E. Jean Carroll and I don't know. You got Carol Burnett. Everyone's coming after him. And he just rides that wave. This is what they don't understand. The more you throw at him, the greater you make him look. It's unbelievable. He has a team. I can't believe he comes up with this on his own. I can't believe he's thinking of this stuff on his own. But he used to have such crap working around him. This is a guy who it's like, oh, my right-hand man, ride or die, is freaking Mike Pence. That's Trump 45. No, Trump 47 is J.D. Vance. This is a different level guy. This is not the same guy. It's not the same guy. Whatever you thought you knew about Donald Trump as president, just throw that out the window, okay? You just like, you could get rid of it, okay? This guy has a whole different team. No John Bolton's out there. Look, I know they're working hard to get Tulsi Gabbard confirmed. Do I think that she's going to be great? Certain things I like about her, certain things about her give me pause. Maybe he's going to get wrong on this person or that person. I don't know. I like a lot of things RFK Jr. says. When I hear his wife express any political opinion, I cringe. I know she was Cheryl from Curb Your Enthusiasm. And yeah, I understand that. She was, she was phenomenal in that role. But if you ever hear her talk about politics, trust me, you're going to like throw up in your mouth. And you say to yourself, oh my God, I hope this woman has no influence over her husband. Zero influence over her husband. Zero. Because I'm sitting here rooting for him to get in there. I'm sitting here rooting for Tulsi. May we come to regret that? May I eat those words one day and say, oh my God, what a disaster this appointment was? Of course, that's very possible. That's very possible. And I'm going to tell you the reason that we should have confidence, the reason we should be excited is because the strategizing that's happening here, the strategizing we're seeing from Trump 47 is a whole different thing. I mean, this is not something we've seen before. A judge gets in his way. The old Trump would have been like, perhaps would have been like, oh, I don't know what to do. All right, what am I going to do? I tried, and the Trump, the judge is in the way. Or he might have said, I'm ignoring the judge. That's not the DC way. You see, Trump 47 is a political animal, and I mean that in the most beautiful and most disturbing ways possible. When I say the phrase political animal, I say, okay, you know what? Barack Obama is a political animal. Nancy Pelosi is a political animal. But now we have a guy on our side who's actually cares about the people, who understands how DC works. He understands it in ways that like Trump 45 could never dream of comprehending. He knows what the tricks are. He knows the tactics. He knows the backdoor secrets. It's like he's like the Weasley twins, knowing where all the different like back doors, the secret alleys and passageways, as opposed to like some like tourist walking around the building like, oh my God, all the staircases are moving. No, he understands everything about DC now, and he's so much more powerful now because of it. And watching him work like this, oh my God, because I'll tell you something, if he goes out there and he just says, I'm ignoring this order, I don't care about it, go enforce it, you're now begging for them to come and impeach you. And that's the sort of thing that in DC, they're like, what, do you not care about the Constitution? Do you think you're above the law? And and as soon as the rhinos smell that there's enough support for that type of thing, he really could be in political jeopardy. So what does he do? All his papers are like, oh, I totally respect the court 100%. We're trying to comply with it every way possible. We're trying to understand it. We think it's unconstitutional. We think you're wrong on the law, which is exactly how you're supposed to write these papers. And then you try to peel it up the chain and you try to get stays on the enactment of these TROs. He's playing the game. He's playing the game the way he's obliged to, the way that everyone in DC plays the game. But at the same time, behind the scenes, he's sneaking around through that back door. And it's like, oh my God, he's coming out here with all these different pastries. And you're like, where the hell did you come from? Oh, don't worry, I got it handled. So what's he doing now? He's like, oh, yeah, there's no lease on the building. There's nowhere for you to go. What are you going to do? Go home. We'll pay you. We'll pay you for the day. Don't worry about it. I just don't want your stinking, dirty, corrupt fingers invading around. Because I know what you're going to do. You're going to be like, and just be like deleting files. You're going to be like moving things around. I don't need that. I don't want you touching anything. Look, maybe you're one of the good ones. You could be. But I don't know that. I don't know you. And since I don't know you, I don't trust you because I see how much slime and scuzz and corruption and disgusting greed there is in this town. And I'd just rather have you not show up for work until we actually manage to sort through all this crap. So there you go. This is Donald Trump. This is Trump 47. Whole other animal. Trump administration on Monday told the AP that it had taken USAID off the lease of the building, which had occupied for decades. Whoops! The eviction comes as a court temporary blocked the Trump administration order that would have pulled all but a fraction of workers off the job worldwide. USAID's eviction from its headquarters marks the latest in the swift dismantling of the aid agency and its programs by President Donald Trump and his billionaire ally Elon Musk. Both have targeted agencies' spending that they call wasteful and accusing its work around the world of being out of line with Trump's agenda. Steady stream of agency staffers dressed in business clothes or USA sweatshirts or T-shirts were told by a front desk officer on Monday they had a list of more than 10 names of people allowed to enter the building. It's like that thing. What's that meme where that guy is like, quitting his job or something like that? I didn't even see it in the movie, but I've seen this meme of this guy who's like, F you, F you, F you, F you, F you, you're cool, F you, F you. that guy, you're cool. That's one of the 10 people out of thousands turned away at the door. Oh my God. Is that what it was? Half baked? Oh, God. A man who earlier identified himself as a USAID official took a harsher tone, telling staffers, just go. 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 Why are you here? Can you not read my lips? Read my lips. Go home. Oh my God. So good. USAID staff were denied entry to the offices to retrieve belongings and were told the lease had been turned over to the General Services Administration, which manages federal government buildings. Oh, well, GSA spokesperson confirmed USAID has been removed from the lease and the building would be repurposed for other government uses. Like, I don't know, making like a memorial for the Democratic Party. Remember when we had that? Even as Trump and Musk, who runs what is billed as cost-cutting Department of Doge, have taken aim at other government agencies, USA has been hit harder so far. I don't care about the rest of this article. If you like the way I cover these stories, I'd appreciate if you could hit like and subscribe. It dawned on me when I was looking at my numbers that I have like 4 over 101. I have like 101,004. At one point, I had 102,500. But apparently, if you don't hit like and subscribe often enough, YouTube sends you into like the nether world where you're like basically stuck, I don't know, watching like reruns of Saved by the Bell or Gilmore Girls or something. I don't know what happens. Those of you who are stuck watching Gilmore Girls in front of me, I apologize. And I guess it's your fault because you haven't kept hitting like and subscribe enough. So you got to keep hitting it on like a regular basis. There's a lot more TROs. You, if you took a shot for every Chiefs penalty, dead. You would be dead. That was just the penalty. There's a lot more wrong there. Oh, thank you, Jadine. That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you. Easy way to nix the union lawsuits against the White House. Revoke EO 10988 and 11499 makes public employee unions illegal, plus no collective bargaining. Moot. See, this is music to my ears, music and fiction, because I've been saying a long time that the government should never, this should be illegal to have unions for any government employee. That would be music to my ears. I don't think he wants to do that, though, because that's the sort of way you'll tick off a lot of people who are currently on his side. Meaning the ones who are recent converts. And let's say, they're part of a bus driver union. I say, woe to the vanished. If the Jews take land during war, it belongs to them. There you go. I don't know how we got there, but that happened. The true definition of Teflon Don. He has gotten amazing. He's like a whole other thing. River to the sea, Israel shall be free. How did see? I don't remember mentioning any of this. How did we get here? Jadine, how did we get here? I don't understand. How did we get here? Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. I felt very good about the first 27 minutes of the show. Hopefully I can keep up that level. Elon said CBP had raid taken the USA building. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's a good fit right there. Biola, as disappointing it was for 2020 being stolen, it's a blessing to have the Trump we have now, and it's only been 3 weeks. It is going to get so much better. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm telling you. He's going to start getting into the DOD. So many different budgets. He's gone through $40 billion out of 6 trillion budget. 40 billion of it out of 6 trillion. We're basically less than 1% of the way there for what can be cut. Less than 1%. And that's not even counting all the things from USA being cut. Less than 1%. That's where we're at now. So, yeah. I've been killing it on Spaces, actually, recently. I've been doing a lot of work on Spaces. So, but you only find out about that if you follow me on Locals, which is goodlogic.locals.com. Anyway. So that was one order TRO circumvented. Today they dropped one TRO after another at him. There's so many legal filings. There's so I mean, so many. This is like Robert Gouvea's like dream world right now, because he has so many different things to read to you all, and he does it great. I'm not going to kid you. I'm jealous of his talent at that. He has such friggin' talent at that. I'm saying that as his friend and admirer of his work. So many different legal documents for him to parse through and just rip through and trail through and actually bring to life in ways that are phenomenal. I cannot recommend, if you're not subscribed to Robert Gouveia, I cannot recommend him highly enough. He's a phenomenal listen. He streams nightly, roughly around 6 p.m. Eastern. Sometimes it's 5. It depends on the time change, and he's in Arizona, which doesn't do time changes, so he's not changing, but the rest of us are, or whatever. But anyway, and he's really great at dissecting. And once in a while, I'll do it on something that I think is really important, especially if it's like a shorter thing, or if you get a Supreme Court decision that I think is particularly uniquely interesting. But this guy can run through it brief in ways that are just exceptional. And there's so many briefs to go through. I'd go through like a 5-page order. He goes through 20
on both sides. But
he goes through them so fast. It's a great thing to see. Anyhow, so there's Kyle Cheney pointing out here. This is the Politico writer that I mentioned at the beginning of this show. Judge Amy Berman Jackson becomes the 5th judge today to block an aspect of Trump's early term orders. This time, the firing of ethics watchdog Hampton Dellinger. And the night isn't over yet. He's so excited. He's so excited. We got to get our money. I'm so bitter at him that, oh my God, I can't believe he cut funding for Politico. It's so wrong. Senior legal affairs reporter for Politico. I hope your company goes belly up. So, the part of the order that's relevant is the time is ordered through midnight on February 13th. Plaintiffs Hampton Dellinger shall continue to serve as the special counsel for the Office of Special Counsel. All right, let's read this stupid thing. Pending before the court is plaintiff's motion for TRO. The court received the motion shortly after it was docketed and signed this morning. It was occupied with another hearing for most of the day. So it says scheduling conference for 4:30. At the hearing, counsel for the defendants represented they did not receive the motion until the early afternoon, which is totally inappropriate if it was filed in the morning, and not yet had an opportunity to file a response. Counsel also indicated defendants were unable to take a position as to whether they would be willing to freeze the firing until the court resolved the legal issues. The court heard some argument from both sides with respect to the factors must consider. Whatever. Given the court's concerns about potential irreparable harm caused by occasioned by the challenge firing of the special counsel, a presidential appointee confirmed by the Senate to serve a 5-year term, who may be removed by the president only for inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance. And given the significant statutory and constitutional issues involved, the court will defer ruling on the motion until after it is received and consider the defendant's submission in the interim. Though to preserve the status quo, we're saying you can't fire him yet. It is hereby from the time of this order through midnight, February 13th, plaintiff Hampton Dellinger shall continue to serve as special counsel for the Office of Special Counsel. The position he occupies 7:22 p.m. on Friday, February 7, 2025. Look at that. Look at that. He gets fired at 7 p.m. on Friday. He has papers filed Monday morning. When he received an email from the president and the defendants, may not deny him access to the resources or materials of that office or recognize the authority of any other person as special counsel. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And yet I sort of feel like, all right, new hurdle for Trump to overcome. And I have confidence he will. Here's another filing that Kyle's all excited about. Federal judge in Massachusetts blocked Trump administration's rate change to NIH grants. It's you see, the reason I can laugh about this stuff is because Let them expose themselves. It's like how we have to spend. The Democrats are exposing themselves as we are the party of wasting money and terrible policy, and just doubling down and tripling down and quadrupling down. They don't even realize how they're carrying their own political party. They can't read the room and appreciate just how ugly this reads to a typical American. A typical American who's like, what the hell's wrong with you people? You just have to spend money. You have to spend money. It sounds like such bad faith arguments. They're literally killing themselves. They're killing themselves. Donald Trump broke them. Oh, okay. The rate's going to be a little bit higher. Big deal. Thanks to Supreme Court's immunity ruling Trump's election dismissal. I'm just going through what he was reporting all day with his excitement, like, oh, yay, we got another win. It's like they're getting it. You know what it's like when they get these wins? This is what it feels like. It feels as if it's like the Chiefs scoring at the end of the game. That's what it feels like. Like, yay, we just got a 30-yard touchdown. Now it's 40-12. In your face, ha ha, with 3 minutes left in the game. That's what these feel like to me. That's what they feel like. And that's why, like, I'm so disinterested in these relatively insignificant. Now, not all of them are insignificant. I don't want to mislead you about that. The federal judge said the Trump administration, this was at 1:01 p.m. today. This was that same guy, Kyle Cheney, writing for Politico. The federal judge says the Trump administration has been violating his order to resume funding federal grants to the White House, attempted to block with a blanket spending freeze last month. U.S. District Judge John McConnell ordered the administration to immediately restore frozen funding while his order remains in effect, including the National Institutes of Health, and to fill the Biden-era Inflation Reduction Act, which is actually Let's Make More Inflation Act, and Infrastructure Improvement and Jobs Act. The broad categorical and sweeping freeze of federal funds is, as the court found, likely unconstitutional and has caused and continues to cause irreparable harm to vast portions of this country, McConnell ruled. These pauses in funding violate the plain text of the order. Now, if you actually read the response from Trump, which it seems as if you question whether Judge McConnell here actually bothered reading it, they said we were trying to comply with it, but there's certain technical glitches in trying to enable it, because what happened was when there was a pause that was put on everything here. I'll just give you a synopsis for those of you who didn't have a chance to go through it or catch Robert Gouveia. So when there was a pause that Trump put into effect, and then that pause was lifted, there were claims, they had portals for claims to be entered in there for people who were like, I'm entitled to money, I'm entitled to get money. Well, most of them are supposed to have money distributed like on a quarterly basis. And people started putting in their entire annual thing because they feel like this is my last chance to stick my grubby fingers into this pot, because they're afraid that once this order is lifted or overturned, they're never going to be able to get their money. So what they did was they put in claims. The Trump administration said we've had 7,000 claims that the system automatically flagged as requests for financing that were not accurate. So far, we processed 6,300 of them. But to the extent that you're claiming that we're trying to withhold them, we're trying to process them as fast as we can, see which claims are justified, which claims are not, are an excessive ask. I will point out to you that currently the federal government is operating, as it has been for the last several decades, on a continuing resolution. What do I mean by that? I mean that, as you're likely aware, but some of you may not be, the government can only be funded if Congress says this is how much money we're going to appropriate and set aside for project A, B, C, D, E, double A, triple A, quadruple Q, on and on and on, all the thousands, tens of thousands of things that they decide they're going to waste their money on, they all have to be budgeted for by Congress. In the years past, they would have, because they're too lazy to go through the budget and see, do we want this one? Do we want that one? Should we leave this in? Should we add more? So they just make a CR, which is an abbreviation for a continuing resolution. Continuing resolution means we're going to just budget for the next year what we had last year, adjusted up for whatever inflation was. And we've been having CRs that have been going back for like, I don't know, like this millennia. Seriously. Well, now, because there have been so many fights that Republicans in particular, members of the Freedom Caucus, like Matt Gaetz, God bless his soul, that they were fighting against these CRs that were just continued coming out. So they didn't put out an annual CR. They'd be for a few months at a time, saying we need to start actually working on getting a budget. Well, the current CR, the current continuing resolution, has an expiry date as to like, we're going to fund the government until date X. And after that, there's no money apportioned beyond that date that Congress has approved. And without Congress's approval, as congressmen and women love to say, we hold the power of the purse. Well, when we say we hold the power of the purse, that means you need to have congressional approval. That's true. Under the Constitution, they do hold the power of the purse. And they've so far used their power to afford funding all the way up through March 14th, 2025, which is, I don't know, 32 days from now. And after that, there's no funding apportioned. So what exactly is a mandatory thing that he has to spend money on? Sure, months ago, they approved this funding, and technically people are supposed to be paid for February. And that's what the judge can compel Trump to pay. But the judge can't compel them to keep paying it if Congress doesn't approve it. So by Elon doing this work, Elon exposing the greed, the corruption, the crap that is clogging up the paychecks of Congress and basically, latching on and swallowing up our taxpayer money and putting our children, grandchildren, God knows how many generations in debt. Now, you'd be like, oh, okay, that little glop right there, we can throw that in the garbage. Oh, we don't need this $48 million stupid gas station. No more trans operas in Siam. No more drag queen Storia hour in Libya. And just start carving that out for the next CR. That seems like a good thing. That seems like a really good thing, you would think. So, yeah. Anyhow. So that's the upside here. The upside is all these TROs stand for temporary restraining order. And in this case, restraining, I can understand if you speak normal English, is a confusing word. It's like, what's being restrained? It's actually temporary compulsion order in this context, where Trump is temporarily compelled to keep spending this money. But the court can only order that. First of all, TRO is only for a very short-term basis. But even if it got turned over to a preliminary injunction, they can only order that for as long as there's funding that's been agreed to by Congress. Well, the power of the purse right now is exclusively in the control of the Republicans. And frankly, I think they're on notice that MAGA is speaking loudly and clearly that we're not tolerating more of this friggin' waste. And that they're on notice that their jobs are kind of in jeopardy. And that we're watching them hawkishly, as we should be, as we need to be, in order to ensure that they actually don't cave into their natural rhino tendencies. So that's the good news. That's the good news I can give you on that. Want more winning, harder winning. One would think the Treasury Department's number one job is keeping track of the money. The resistance to the audits is absurd. The Democrats aren't reading the room. Not at all. And I like that. I like it. The only bad thing about it is that, frankly, let's be realistic. Whatever embarrassment they have in their piss poor reading of the room, people tend to forget it years later. Like when election season comes around in November 26th, no one's going to remember anything that happened in January or February of 2025. They just won't. But it's nice to build more bad will for them because not enough bad things can happen to that party. Karen Mannings! Is that how, am I pronouncing your name right? I don't know if I've ever seen your name before. Have I ever seen your name before, Karen? Is it Karine? Is it Karen? Where's that flag from? What's that, from Italy? Cambodia? It's a very unusual flag. I don't know if I've ever seen that flag. How are you, Karen? Welcome back to The Following. It has not been the same without you. It has not been the same without you. So we're glad that you're able to come back into The Following, which is not at all a cult. It's just a gathering of like-minded individuals who are looking for greater personal growth. That's all. Robert was excellent and hysterical today. He's great. He's always great. He's always great. The Israel super chats are USA supporting you. They support cults at USA. That's so nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't call me Shirley. I don't, Justin. Stop calling me Shirley. Watching Trump give these Marxist anarchists massive purple nurples at will is just so GD incredible to be alive for. God bless America, USA. It is, right? This is the best time to be alive. The lawfare is going to be pervasive. It's never going to stop. They're going to file 15 things every day. And that's okay. That's okay. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Multiple daily suits against the will of the people. Trump already won the war, celebrating small battles that annoy and hinder will only wake more people up. Yep. The target is 2 trillion cuts. 1% equals 20 billion. U.S. aid is 45 billion. We're not cutting all of the 45 billion. Some of it, I assume, is necessary. I assume like 5% of it is necessary. 10%. But yeah. If USAID comes in over 5 billion, I think that's a little bit disappointing, but perhaps that's necessary. Who knows? Jadine, a good guy. I get the guy. I get, in Yiddish, you would say, I get the guy. Some would say gutta. Some would say getta. Most would say get the guy. Loving the Jew, especially Jewish women, is specifically Gal Gadot. You ain't alone in that one. Tell you that. She's a very popular Jewess. She is a very popular Jewess. It probably helps having a co-star who's purportedly prettier than you in Sleeping Beauty, was actually not, and then has a personality which is as repulsive as imaginable. I wonder if I saved that. Oh, I meant to have this. I don't know if I shared this. Did I share this? Let me see if I can find this. Now I remember. I haven't even looked at what I put aside here. No. Give me a minute now. Let's see if I can find it. Maybe we'll have some luck. Well, we have some luck. Since you're bringing up Gal Gadot. Okay, it's not there. I might be able to find it here. Hold on. I'm doing my best. I got you. I know where to find you. Into my history here. Should take just another second. Mm. Patience. Patience. If I'm doing it, it's for a reason. It's for your own good. It's for your own benefit. Believe in me. Come on. Oh, I spend too much time on YouTube. Okay, I'm starting to lose patience myself. Not going to kid you. I know I saw this recently. Is that it? That's painful. How is that possible? Oh, well, that stinks. I can't believe I don't have it here. It was really funny, too. Ah, well, I can't. Y'all were very patient. I was going to find something Gal Gadot related that I saw that was pretty funny, but I don't know how it is. I can't find it. Elon described like a plaque in the government arteries. That's a good description. Yeah. There's a massive imbalance in the three-party system because two branches have no term limits. Must remove for executive or impose on other branches. The only thing that has term limits is the presidency. So a lot of the executive branch has no term limits. Most of the executive branch in the deep state have no term limits either. So, yeah. Do a quick check over here and make sure I didn't miss anything. We're good there. All right, can we start talking about the Super Bowl? Because I have a lot of things I want to tell you about. We got lots to talk about with the Super Bowl. I'm not even going to get into the Black National Anthem. I did put up here that my goal was 15 super chats of yellow or higher for me to talk to you about the Black National Anthem. So I have a lot of thoughts about that. But I figure I'll save it for another day, perhaps. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So first and foremost, I want to say this. In the past, I've complained about the Super Bowl and sports in general, that I think that sports have gotten too woke. We've all seen it happen, from the end racism to, and I was talking about this on Spaces last night while I was driving back from the Super Bowl party. My annual thing that I do for the Super Bowl is I'll go to a friend of mine who lives a pretty far drive, it's like an hour and a half away from me. But it's a friend of mine who I've known for decades, who was always one of my closest friends, who has like a Super Bowl party every year. And it's really the one time a year that I know I'm going to see him. It's not uncommon for me to see him once a year. And that's like the one time. So it's sort of become a little bit of an established tradition that I'll go watch the Super Bowl at his house. And he makes a nice party there, and he caters stuff and has a couple dozen people come. So it's always a good time. You know, some years the Super Bowl game itself is good. Sometimes it's not. That we always have the boxes that we do for that, sort of thing. he's very not into watching commercials. He'll like TiVo it, and the game starts at 6:18 or thereabouts every year, and he's very into like starting at like 6:45, and we'll just sort of fast forward through different bits, especially because he has there are kids coming in and out, and if you have commercials with like basically women who are falling out of their clothing, that he'll just sort of like skip past it because people have kids around and stuff. Anyway, so we also have like the boxes. If you're unfamiliar with this, you should if you're, I don't know how functioning adults today wouldn't know what the boxes are, but you might be one of those who's so afield from the Super Bowl festivities you're not familiar with boxes. The way boxes work is you basically have the AFC team and the NFC team and who are playing against each other, and you put the numbers 0 through 9 and 0 through 9. Usually you try to randomize it, and you basically say, hey, look, fill in a box, and you're going to look at the final score, or we'll look at the halftime score, at the quarter score, and whatever the score, you basically try to find on the grid what the score is while only looking at the singles place digits. So if there's more than 10 points showed, so if it's 17-3, the AFC is beating the NFC, which that's in the Chiefs' dreams, I guess. But so in that case, you would look at the 7 box for the AFC and the 3 box for the NFC, and wherever those converge, whoever's name is filled into that box is the winner. So that's basically what they call box pools or whatever. So we'll always do that. It actually was we actually had the whole game was pretty boring because it was such a ridiculous blowout. We actually had a pretty exciting time there because while we have like one which is relatively cheap, like $10 a box, there was someone at the party there who was in a different pool, which was $100 a box, and he was in line to potentially win the grand prize at the end. And we were sitting there, depending on how scoring worked in the last couple of minutes, and sure enough, he ended up winning like $4,500. So we were all pulling for him, and it was very exciting to see him. Like he had that 2-0 box, which was the golden ticket, as they say. So that made it okay. But the reason I bring this up is so I don't get to catch every commercial. I only catch some commercials. If it's a good commercial, we'll sit through it. If it's not, we'll sort of skim through it. I actually saw one commercial featuring Harrison Ford, who's an actor who I used to love. And because of his woke stance, it was hard for me to actually stomach him of late. But he was in a commercial which was surprisingly, it was reflective of the fact that we are in a different age now. Like this is not, I mean, I've seen in Super Bowls over the last several years, just the wokest, stupidest, like terrible, oh my God, what the hell is happening type of hot garbage. And yeah, and we still had that to some degree. We still, don't get me wrong, we still had that to some degree. We had some cringe moments, some really, really cringe moments. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll give you an example of like what was cringe.
I hate you.
Okay, this was a cringe moment here. I was watching this, I was just like, what the hell is this? What is this?
I hate you because we're from different neighborhoods.
I hate you because you look different.
I hate you because I don't understand you.
I hate you because people I know hate you.
I hate you because I think you hate me.
Because I need someone to blame.
Because you talk different.
Because you act different.
Because you're just different. Man, I hate that things are so bad that we have to do a commercial about it.
Me too.
Now we turn and walk away from the camera as friends. Okay, and the only reason that this is not like terrible is because it basically wasn't promoting cutting genitalia off children. And it basically is like, you know, don't be a douchebag, which, okay. Everyone made a big deal about the fact that they took out the end racism message in the back of the of the end zone. And frankly, I think Byron Donalds had it proper when he's like changing. Instead, they changed to choose love, which frankly is the same woke messaging. It's just a different agenda. One is about racism. Choose love is a pride thing. Almost certainly that's what it's intended to be. But I guess it's more generic. It's more generic. It could just be, and Byron Donalds had it proper when he said, they could just say, if they, when he was on Bill Maher, and someone was like, well, what, you think that people should choose hate instead of choosing love? He's like, no, but it just, there's certain connotations there. And he was questioned further, saying, what's wrong with just telling people not to be an a-hole? And he's like, well, they could put that in the back of the end zone. That I'd be good with. Don't be an a-hole. And that would be fine. And I guess you could look at this commercial as don't be an a-hole. It just feels very cringy. It just feels like these are two bad actors doing a bad job of acting about how, like, I hate you, when you know that they don't. So that part makes it like cringy. The overall messaging of it, I guess, isn't nearly as terrible as some of the stuff we've seen. I mean, we've seen some terrible stuff. What the heck is happening here? Some terrible stuff. Oh my God. So yeah. So that was like, all right. It's better than most things. And some of the messaging was downright really surprisingly good. Here's Harrison Ford doing a commercial for Jeep. I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but just feels like real and gritty and very, they got an American flag here. When's the last time you saw a Super Bowl ad with an American flag flying in the
Longest thing we ever do is live our lives. But life doesn't come with an owner's manual. Might have been nice, huh? But that means we get to write our own stories. Freedom is yes or no or maybe. Freedom is for everybody, but it isn't free. It's earned. There are real heroes in the world, but not the ones in the movies. Real heroes are humble. They're not driven by pride. Pride is a terrible driver.
Listen to that. They're not driven by pride. Pride is a terrible driver. I mean, talk about like you're cheering the military. He's saying they're not driven by pride. Pride is a terrible driver. Wow. When is the last time you ever heard the word pride? And like, they choose every word here very carefully. And I'll prove to you that you know it. I can prove to you that you know how carefully they choose it. Because that if the message was like the opposite of like, we all need a little more pride in our lives, that I would be telling you this is subtle woke messaging. I would be the first one calling out saying, oh, here comes your whole, we need more pride. Yay, pride, go pride, go pride. I'd be pointing that out to you. So now I'm pointing out the opposite to you. I mean, it's just an unbelievable. This is an unbelievable statement. Talk about what a real hero is, not driven by pride.
Movies. There are real heroes in the world, but not the ones in the movies. Real heroes.
I mean, championing the military here. I mean, instead of championing the military, and the military here, all right, we're not going to get a white guy, in it's not going to be a white guy, but hey, it's a male. That's something, I guess. That's something, I guess. And it's sweet hugging his daughter there. It's a very sweet. This is a lot more based than anything we've seen in a long time.
They're humble. They're not driven by pride. Pride is a terrible driver. Freedom is the roar of one man's engine and the silence of another's.
The whole, freedom is the ability to make your own choices. This is so not typical Super Bowl messaging. So I do want to applaud Jeep for that. And by the way, I'm only like 4,000. I'm only like 4,600 members from getting my own Jeep. Because I said when I have 5,000 members of the following, I will get a Jeep. And just burn, baby, burn. I will ruin the ozone layer single-handedly with my Jeep. So, anyway, I still got to pause. I'm going to pause here for a second and catch up here. Liz, hit me up. Very generous. God bless you, Liz, with 2 of these. First one saying, just because you're fabulous and I love listening, perfection. That's very, very kind. I don't know. Perfection's strong. I don't know. It's good. It's really good. Thank you. And another one here. Here's another win. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you so very, very much. I really, really appreciate it. There's a massive. We got this one. Good googly moogly. Get on with it, man. I'm sorry. Sorry, I made you all wait. My point being Trump 2028. That would be awesome. Kathy, natural selection term limits forbid insider trading that have to leave after the term ends to go make money. That would be amazing. Super Bowl halftime show so black 3 years running. I can't understand the word they say. So that's another thing we do when we're watching the Super Bowl. We don't even watch the Super Bowl halftime show. Like literally, I can't even tell you who's been in this. I know that Lady Gaga was in it a couple of years ago. And whenever they bring out really old artists, I think it's kind of weird. I will admit one thing that's probably, I don't know if I should admit this. When someone told me that Kendrick Lamar was Super Bowl halftime show, I thought it was a basketball player. It's true. Don't tell me there wasn't one who had a name similar to that. Okay, that wasn't crazy thought. I was like, real? Why would they? I had never heard of the guy before. And that's the first time that there was a performer in the Super Bowl that I never heard of them before. I mean, seriously, that's the first time. I heard of Maroon 5, Rihanna. I heard all of it. Not this one. I seriously was like, is he a singer or is he a rapper? I don't even know. And I still don't know because I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the halftime show. I didn't see it. But I heard it got universally panned. Speaking of getting universally panned. Should share this. Let's search this. For the 6 of you who have not yet seen this yet. This is what I was looking for. Not before, but what is this? Take that off. This is a whole new world we're living in. Trump getting cheered, Taylor Swift getting booed. Trump even trolled her with the only one that had a tougher night than the Kansas City Chiefs was Taylor Swift. She got booed out of the stadium. MAGA is very unforgiving. Come on, I don't need this. I want to actually see the clip of it. I don't need to hear the music here. Dagnabbit. There we go. That's actually not even a good audio of it. There's better audios than that one. Let me find better audio. She was really booed. That's a Bronx cheer right there. That is a friggin' Bronx cheer. Wow. Wow. That's pretty harsh. That's pretty harsh. In stark contrast. In stark contrast. Let's see if they have good audio here. That's when they showed him on the screen during the national anthem. Let's fight for the ramparts we watch. She's like, what's going on? You look at her lips there. She's like, what's going on? I don't understand. I don't understand. What's going on? Why am I being booed? Look at her face there. What's going on? I don't. This is how John Boy would read it. And she's like, I don't understand. What's going on? What's going on? She doesn't understand what's going on. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of theories as to what's going on. There's a couple of theories. I have a couple of theories. It could be a MAGA crowd. Very possibly. It's a MAGA crowd. Very, very possible. That's one possibility. And MAGA is unforgiving. And that was Trump's assessment when he was trolling Taylor, who obviously, he's not a fan because she came out and endorsed Kamala 10 seconds after Kamala announced that she was running. And she's had these fits of crying and freaking out and crying and so upset about Trump. And she's a lunatic lefty. She is a lunatic lefty. So it could be MAGA. Basically, it's like, F you, we hate you. There's another possibility here also. There's another possibility. And that possibility would be more likely at an Eagles game than in the Super Bowl, because the crowd at a Super Bowl tends to be less rambunctious, less football fanatic. If you're a football fanatic, you don't like Taylor coming to these games. You don't, and she's been coming to Chiefs games for a long time. If you're a hardcore football fanatic, the way most Philly fans are, you don't like the idea of some pop star showing up and be like, look at me, I'm here, and all the attention that's given to her because I'm dating tight end Travis Kelce. And it's like, you don't like it. You don't, it's like, why are you on camera every 10 seconds? Every time there's like a stupid 4-yard dump off to Travis Kelce, it's like, there's Taylor, she's cheering. Look at Taylor, she's so excited. He scored a touchdown. Look at Taylor. Every 10 seconds. We don't see other football wives every time there's a touchdown. The only people who get remotely that kind of coverage is like Kyron Williams' mother, some guy's mother, who comes like every game or something like that, and they don't get nearly the same coverage, trust me, as a Taylor Swift. So there's a sort of resentment from the football fanatic perspective that her continual presence at games is just this attention-seeking self-glorification that is just annoying. So I think you sort of have a marriage of two different groups who have motivation to boo Taylor Swift. One of them is the MAGA crowd, and the other is the hardcore football fanatic. And there likely were more hardcore football fanatics at this Super Bowl than at most Super Bowls because Philly fans travel and they're kind of insane. So, and I mean that with the utmost respect and disrespect for Philly fans. I mean it with the utmost respect and disrespect. And I think Philly fans know exactly what I mean by that. I think they know exactly what I mean by that. It is the utmost respect and the utmost disrespect that they're kind of gross fans. If you know that they're very aggressive. Very aggressive. They're notoriously aggressive. In fact, I'll even go so far as to say there's no fan base out there that would be deemed more hostile than Philly fans. Maybe some are comparable, but there's no fan base out there that people are like, oh, that fan base is more hostile than Philly. It's like Philly is like the paradigm that is referenced as like the hostile fan. So, and it's a big comment to refer to them as a football fanatic. But yeah, anyway. Look at this. What the heck? I got the money. I got the money. I want to share. Thank you so much, Liz. You're really too kind. Thank you. Thank you very much. I got the money. I got the money. As the token rainbow rep, choose love isn't our BS. I always forget that you're gay. I always forget that you're gay, honestly. Always. And you're not the token, by the way. One of my mods is gay. I really don't care if you're. I don't care about that stuff at all. Oh no, just saying the gays everywhere. Never forgive, never forget. The same people saying they want to stop hate just pleaded for amnesty for the medical tyranny they put us all through. No, I refuse. I say yet refuse to accept such messaging of people that belong in prison. I'll go one step further. Same people screaming about like, hey, respect democracy, are cheering every ridiculous BS effort to stand in the way of our duly elected president of the United States. They're all excited every time some new TRO comes down. Isn't that disrupting the will of the people? Isn't that disrupting democracy? So no, get off your freaking high horses, you sick freaks. Get off your high horses. Yeah, well, after Liz's 300 in super chats, you're that much closer to your new Jeep. God bless you, Liz. Amen. God bless Liz. God bless you, Joe, for the wonderful entertainment and content you give us. Thank you so much. I do my best. They muted the TV and put some real music on. Did you? I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. She's dropping it. Even though I don't think we're gonna meet I don't know if I'm gonna meet my threshold here that I set down for my thing. I'm gonna qualify these hundreds as multiples toward the thing. I'm gonna give you my Black National Anthem perspective tonight. I'm gonna give it to you. Milo surprising a good point on Timcast tonight. The problem with Kendrick, etc., is that they aren't household names. The era of true megastardom is over because the internet oversaturating fame. Maybe. Now, how do you explain Taylor Swift? How do you explain Beyonce? How do you explain? I don't think that's true. I think he's wrong. There's some megastars. We're more fractured now, so people. And yeah, okay, I guess Beyonce could be like a little bit pre-internet, but there are folks who come out of nowhere and become huge. There are. I disagree. Just because I don't know them, that's just a reflection of the fact that I'm old. But a tight end dating a wide receiver. You know, it's funny. On Shabbos, my father was here, and he doesn't follow football at all. And my kids laughed, like really. My two daughters laughed when my father asked me. He's like, I was explaining Travis Kelce and how he became this big political girly man. And he's like, and he knows so little about football that he's like, what's the difference between a tight end and a wide receiver? And I and right away I shot out 80 pounds. There you go. Maybe these days it's closer to like 40 pounds. But yeah, that's it. That's the difference. Some of them will block more, stay back and block more. But most of the tight end names that people know, the only difference between them and a wide receiver is 60, 80 pounds. So God bless you, Liz. One more. Yeah, God bless you. It's not her presence. It's the NFL's insistence on always putting her on camera. Also, she was once an Eagles fan. That's who booed her. Oh, I didn't know that. Was she once an Eagles fan? Oh, that would explain it also. You could see she's so confused. Let's face it. She was really an Eagles fan. Please. KC played like they did all season. You could see through the year they weren't great. They were good and seemed to win games for some reason. More of these. Maybe that's why Liz is dropping the wing. It's like the whole referee thing. And if you're not following football, then you can't appreciate the fact that most people who follow the NFL feel as if and this is one of the things I was explaining to my dad, that I don't even hate Patrick Mahomes. I happen to respect the hell out of that guy, putting last night aside where he played pretty brutally. Probably the worst. I think without a doubt, the worst game I've ever seen him play. But first of all, the Philly defense was suffocating. They were pressuring. His guys weren't open. The team is not that great a team. They're not that great a team. But it's like every time someone comes within 3 feet of him, it's like there's a roughing penalty or, illegal contact. And it's just like, I saw a video of like, teams studying film on how to tackle Patrick Mahomes. And it was like, it's like you sort of have to go out there and like, what was it? I don't know if I can find it. It's like you have to like pick him up gently cradle him, say, "Are you okay?" And then two people pick him up and like lay him down, get him a blanket and a pillow. Because if you do anything else, the next thing you know, you're gonna just you're just gonna get flagged. So it's like, 3rd and 10, incomplete. Oh, where he scrambles for 4 yards. Oh, illegal hit. So, and at critical times in the fourth quarter, and it happens over and over and over and over again, where it just feels like, what's the point to even trying to stop him? Because A, he's great, and if you manage to stop him, there's going to be a penalty called. So it's like, it's not fun if you ever playing a character. It's not fun if that character can't die. There needs to be vulnerability, and he's talented enough. And trust me, in my heart of hearts, I actually think Patrick Mahomes, two things I'll say about him. A, I do think he's the most talented quarterback I've ever seen in my life. The most talented quarterback. I mean, literally, the guy is like running. He's running this way, and the next thing you know, he's just like throwing it 30 yards downfield to a guy and like hitting him in stride. We've never seen anything like that. So I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I think this guy doesn't just have like wins in big moments, which he does, but I think he's the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. And frankly, he carries himself without arrogance, the arrogance that, many superstars exude. I think there's a lot to admire about Patrick Mahomes. A lot to admire about him. The guy he comes across as a quality human being who happens to have superior talent and who works very hard at his craft, and everything that you could look for in as far as what we see as public perception. He happens to be a great person. So what's not to love? I hate the way he gets treated by the referees in the NFL, where it's like someone comes within 4 yards of him. It's like flag. It's like you can't play a game like that. So I don't hate him. I just hate the way the game becomes when he's on the field because of the referees. So yeah, he really is a class act, though. Sherry Lawless hitting me. Here you go for my grandpa's will that just paid out. Okay. I don't know what to say about that. Thank you. Other than thank you. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate you sharing the wealth. Thank you. That's Swift's next album title after the split. I used to have a tight end. Someone had to go and do it. Someone had to. One old guy wasn't here. So Richard Parker's like, I got this. I got this. She's part of the Blake Lively bullying situation, trying to play a victim. No one's buying it. Oh, is that part of it? I haven't gotten into the whole Blake Lively thing. I was talking about whether or not I should cover it on Friday. I'm going to put another poll up here. Do you guys want me to cover Blake Lively? I'm going to make a poll. I have a feeling I'm going to end up streaming that trial if it goes to trial. So I probably should start planting that seed. But just in case, I'm curious if you guys want that. Should I start covering Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds? It's just a simple yes, no. And just tell me yes or no in Rumble. I'm going to check there too. Was there a halftime show at the Super Bowl? Yeah, it was Lamar Kendrick or Kendrick Lamar. I seriously don't even know which is right. It's definitely one of them. Grandpa lived to 100 years old and lived a great life, survived World War II. Happy to share. Thank you so much. And I'm glad he had a great life. That's worth celebrating. Good for him. God bless. One of you will correct me. Is it Kendrick Lamar? He's a West Coast rapper. Okay. All right. Well, that's something. While you're here, if you could hit like and subscribe, that'd be cool too. All right, let's get to. So I shared with you the good parts of the Super Bowl, but it wasn't all good. You knew we were going to get there. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this ad here. And for the most part, like I said, not nearly as woke as we've seen some Super Bowls. Not nearly as woke, which is a sign of the times. A sign of the times that things that advertisers are starting to recognize that the public, that woke is done. That's not how you sell things anymore, by being woke. But let's check out this 2-minute ad.
School, son, school. Jaworski, you're on thin ice, mister.
Hey, Principal P.
Stop kicking your principal. Everybody's on thin ice.
What's this? A Dorkosaurus Rex? Come on,
All right, so white, good-looking people are obviously the bad guys because, you know, the white, pretty people are always the bad guys. Trust me. Story of my life.
Dad, I don't want any trouble.
Leave him alone. I'll kick your butt, Chad.
Hey, Chad. Check out the new girl.
Ew, what is she wearing?
Girls don't play football.
They do where I'm from.
Get a load of this one. Think fast.
Ooh, look at that. Hands McGee.
You think fast.
Oh, yeah. Ha, got him right in the manhood. Oh, yeah. Ha, in your face.
Right in the Jimmy Johnson.
This ain't over.
We just getting started, Chad.
Get the flag.
Let's go, let's go. Get down. Come on. There you go.
Ooh, new girl, bad.
All right. So that guy there, by the way, this guy, Shaft over here. he's the good guy. You know, he can appreciate the talents of you know, black woman.
Enough. Let's settle this once and for all.
And she's clearly the most dominant athlete anyone's ever seen before.
Your best guy?
Girl.
Whatever. Versus our best guy. The Brad.
Not the Brad.
They even give him like the classic white boy name and the stupid mullet to basically make him seem like he's a hick. Who you hate him. Make sure you hate him. And the smug captain there, which everyone I guess has a Captain C on them. I don't know. Even dorky kid back here.
I'm Brad.
I can read.
My body is burning. It starts to shout. Desire's coming. It breaks our heart. The night is coming.
Oh, he stinks at tackling in flag football. That's the Brad, because that flag was right there. Right there. It was right there. He's terrible at it. That's the Brad.
There you go. You got folded up, Brad. Get her. Okay.
Oh, yeah. She's like the most agile person on earth. Look at her doing the Saquon jump over someone backward thing. The Saquon Barkley actually did that in a game this year, which was pretty sick. Oh, you can't touch her. You can't touch her. Oh, you can't touch her. Let's make girl flag football a varsity sport in all 50 states. The message there is that, you know, boys are no better at sports than girls. And I understand that at the very least they're talking about flag football, not tackle football. So I guess we should be grateful for that. But I was on an X Space yesterday afterwards where there was a woman who was saying that her daughter said the message I take from this is I better be able to beat boys at sports. It's like so girls are faster than boys now? Is that true? Is that true? Is there some woman out there that I haven't heard of who's got the all-time world record for track? Did I miss the memo on that? Did I miss the I'm pretty sure that's not accurate. Far more agile. Really? And trust me, and there are countless women who I'm sure are 1,000 times more agile than I am in my 50s. I'm sure. Probably not when I was in my 20s, but when I was in my 50s, now that I'm in my 50s, yeah, there are countless women out there who are way more agile than me, way more. But I'm also not the one they're competing against on a football field. And this whole messaging, I don't know what the point is. Why does it have to be like this? There's no reason to make sports so blatantly political. So I'm pleased with the fact that this sort of thing, that there's only one or two of these commercials that I can find that are disturbing, because in Super Bowls past there would be at least half a dozen, if not a dozen, which would be way more overt, way worse than this. But I don't know if there are some girls out there who are taking the message from this, and clearly there are, because this woman was saying that her daughter, she didn't ask her daughter, she said her daughter just piped up. She's like, so what, I'm supposed to beat boys in flag football? Is that what it's trying to tell me? Which is basically, it's a very pro-trans message. So if the whole point is to saying, let's make women's sports a big deal, which is what the final message there was. I mean, let's look at what the final message of this ad was. Final message was, let's make girls flag football a varsity sport in all 50 states. The implication is that they should be able to play against some boy who basically, takes enough estrogen that he can qualify. And girls will beat them because they're way more agile. They're going to beat them, which is just hot garbage. So there's a certain irony in that it's supposed to be standing up for girls' sports while at the same time inviting trans women into the sport by saying, girls will beat them. Girls will beat them. Talented girls will beat them. That's essentially what this is trying to say. That's the message I take from this. I don't know. Am I the only one who takes that message? I don't think I am. My gut says no. My gut says no. I'm looking for the yes, no's. I don't see too many. You think that's okay? I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. When I was 20 and I was spending a year studying in Israel, I played tackle football with no pads, no nothing. No pads, no nothing. And I was kind of a lunatic about it. But after 3 of my quarterbacks broke collarbones, one of them, I think, had a torn labrum. So the next year they transitioned over, which I guess transition is the appropriate word, to flag football. I don't have a problem with flag football. I think flag football is a logical thing. And, I have no problem with flag football. I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know. If you're trying to promote women's sport, you shouldn't be promoting that they should be able to beat men. That's the point. That's not how you promote women's sport. There's lots of ways to promote the phenomenal talents of female athletes without saying that they need to compete and beat boys. Mahomes is the best quarterback I've ever seen also. He's a great pocket and mobile quarterback. I'm a KC fan, but happy they lost. Didn't deserve to be there. Yeah, they really didn't deserve to be there. Subsidize another unappreciative women's team. Apparently, yeah, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. You ever see that women's soccer league team that played a team of high school boys? I realize soccer sucks, but check out a clip if you haven't seen it. I'm so glad you brought this up, Malcolm. Send me a link to it. Send me a link to it if you can. Because I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that when I was watching this, and I meant to pull it up, and I couldn't, and I forgot. Let me see if I can find it.
Transition.
Here it is. I can't watch the whole thing. This is funny. This is funny. I'm glad you brought this up, Malcolm. U.S. women versus Say Ward FC.
Here is the counter again. The step through the shot. Another shot, and there it is. Game over. Sayward FC.
5-0.
As Brendan
They were playing
Landy
to 5. Target score of 5.
scores the game winner.
Brendan Lambie's a right-footed player. He's going for that bottom corner, and I think that's more down to being under so much pressure if you're the U.S. women's team. And when this ball ricochet, it's so unlucky.
That was game 1. Game 2.
Here's a turnover.
Target score of 12.
There it is. Game over.
Target score of 12. 12-0.
12-0. Wrexham defeats the U.S. women. And Wrexham just proved to be too tough for this team.
Now, that kind of slaughter would be bad enough, but if you could believe it, it actually gets worse. Watch what a bunch of teenage boys did to the U.S. women's soccer team. Now, these are U15 boys that's under the age of 15 playing an exhibition match with none other than the U.S. professional women's soccer team. The women were reportedly preparing for a match with Russia when they agreed to play the DC Dallas under 15 boys team, and they were crushed 5-2. The U.S. women's soccer team was crushed by a bunch of adolescent boys.
It's weird because they're way more agile than boys from everything my TV has told me.
Now, I bring this up because it's being
under 15-year-old. This 14-year-old boys. 5-2. What else do you need to say? A 14-year-old boy beats like the top female athletes. A bunch of 14-year-old boys. Unbelievable. Pathetic. God. This is why we have women's sports. This is why you have women's sports. The reason you have women's sports, it's because women should have sport that they can basically have a level playing field. That's the point. That's the point. This is so stupid. That's so stupid. I watched the game with angry Chiefs fans who did not take the loss well. Let's just say it may be technically legal to eat an eagle, but I'm old-fashioned and just don't think you should do it. Flag football is too dangerous. Pop Warner is much safer. Oh, come on. There's no sport as great as football. It's the most awesome feeling in the world. When you catch a long bomb, anytime I would catch like a long bomb, oh my God. That's the most amazing feeling in the world. All right. I promised I'm going to live up to my promise. I have never in my life have I ever, to my recollection, have I ever heard the entire Black National Anthem. I don't know. Maybe it's a good song. Maybe it's not a good song. I'm gonna listen now and critique it. I'll critique the song for as long as I can listen to it, because I have a feeling that I'm gonna get like halfway through, and not gonna be able to finish. I have a feeling I'm not gonna be able to. But let's see how far in I can get. Let's see how far in I can get. Heard this song before? I'm gonna tell you, so far it's not bad. There's nothing objectionable about the song. I thought this was going to be way worse than this. This is really, as a song goes, and considering the objective of this song, which that's the part no matter how this plays out, I'm going to find terribly objectionable. But as far as the lyrics and music of this song, I don't see anything so far that seems. And the chorus knows this song. Am I the only one? I'm watching this. I'm like, I don't know if they know the tune. I don't know if they know the lyrics. She seems to know. She seems to, she has a nice voice, and she seems to know this song. I just sort of feel like they're sort of like trying to sing along. They're just sway. I don't think this is a real choir. And if it is a real choir, I don't think they've ever sung this song before. Like I get the feeling like they're almost like putting like the words up on a jumbotron, and it's almost like Joe Biden trying to like read a speech, and they're just sort of like, they need to have a few more words out in front so they can sort of know what they're supposed to be singing next. Because the overall gist I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting, is that most of them folks in that choir, most of the folks in yellow, they don't know this song at all, which is probably a good thing. Anthem, that implies that it's against other people. I mean, that's implicit in that. All right, here's the problem I have. Now that I've heard the song, I'll tell you that it's not nearly as combative as I anticipated the song being when I just heard the concept of a Black National Anthem. I just assumed that was just gonna, it was basically gonna be like Shabazz K. Martin and kill the white man, which I guess it would have been it would have been far more difficult for them to sell to the NFL if it had anything like that. So overall, aside from the last echoing of victory over, I'm trying to figure out what is victory. You could interpret that as being victory over the challenges of life. It's sufficiently vague that if you want to give the benefit of the doubt, you can make a cogent argument that it's not intended to be antagonistic to any excluded groups, excluded groups, meaning everyone but Black people, because if you call it the Black National Anthem, that basically saying if you're not Black, you're not part of this thing that we're doing here. So if you want to be antagonistic to this song, as antagonistic as possible, you can easily read that as saying this is basically calling for Black people to have victory and conquer people who are not Black. If you want to be more forgiving, you can make a fair read and say, no, this is basically lifting up and, so that everyone can find their own personal victory and whatever. But that doesn't really tend to be consistent with the tone of being a national anthem. So, which usually is a group. It's like our group thing. You think about the Star Spangled Banner, it's like our group rising up against, the challenges of overcoming the British. That's what the national anthem is. And how we're the unyielding spirit, the unyielding American spirit, that's what the national anthem is. And frankly, what I find really most objectionable is just more than this song, more than the song, which, as I said, could be interpreted negatively, just the song itself, purely on the end part of it. But I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Okay, I'm going to say let's assume it's not intended to say victory of our group over other groups, which would just be really morally wrong. I'm going to assume it's not like that, and it's just basically about the rising up of the human spirit. Even though the more I think about the less credible that read is, I'm still going to give it that. We're going to just go with that. Let's go with that. Okay. The concept of a national anthem for a subgroup of Americans is about as divisive a concept as is imaginable. A country works as a cohesive if you actually can believe in the country itself. And packaging a perspective that our identity is that we are separate and apart is not only the most thoroughly inconsistent objective to everything that was espoused by, frankly, the Black community's greatest leader all time in Martin Luther King, because his entire perspective is that there should be zero distinction between Black and white. And that is what's healthy. And I happen to agree with him 1,000% on that. Because as long as you continue to say that there's a division, there will always be a division. And there will always be strife. And you will always feel as if we're not the same kind of American. That's the problem I have with this Black national anthem. It would be terrible if there was a Chinese national anthem or a Jewish national anthem or a Muslim national anthem or a French American national anthem. Anything that is breaking away from being American is basically saying we're not part of you. You are there, you're part of they, them, and there's us, and then you're them. And that's the exact opposite of what the objective of a national anthem is. A national anthem is unifying, that, hey, we are all, at the end of the day, Americans. We all share in being Americans and recognizing our nationality as Americans. Why the hell would you possibly think that there's anything beneficial or conducive to saying that one group of Americans is somehow unique and distinct and implicitly will always be unique and distinct and never part of the fabric of the overall American society? Because that's what you're saying when you have a Black national anthem. It's the same horrific message if you had a Jewish national anthem or a Chinese American national anthem or a Hispanic national anthem. That would be terrible. But it is even worse. It's even worse because of the history of Black people in this country, because of the abuse and oppression that they've had historically in this country. It is far, far, far more damaging to the Black community than any other community you can possibly imagine. And the reason it's far more damaging is because it is perpetuating a slave mentality. It is perpetuating an outsider mentality. It is perpetuating this notion that you can never be recompensed. You're never really American. You always have one foot in some continent that is thousands of miles away that you in your life have likely never set foot on, but because of the fact that your ancestors, perhaps some of them, likely not all of them, but some of them likely come from Africa, accordingly, somehow you're uniquely different from all the other Americans who came here from Asia, from Europe, from South America. You're uniquely different, whether it's by dint of your melanin or it's got nothing to do with your DNA, because let's face it, most Black people have no idea what their DNA is. Most white people don't know what their DNA is. Very few of us know our actual DNA. So by what logic are Black people uniquely brought together into this group that has to remain as outsiders in America? And it doesn't matter like how much melanin they have. Is Barack Obama as Black as Morgan Freeman? And I understand that in the Black community that there is distinctions between levels of Blackness and I'm not sure if it's deemed a positive or a negative. It probably depends on the culture and the subculture you're in and the atmosphere you're in as to whether having more melanin is considered a positive or a negative or more oppressed or whatever. But I'm very, very curious. Is Trevor Noah the same kind of Black, the same kind of Black as Sidney Poitier? I just want to know, the same type as Yee, or is it no? He's whiter. So accordingly, he's not quite as Black. And is the Black national anthem for him? And let's say you have someone who's actually Black and just happens to be an albino Black, which there are some people like that. Are they part of the Black national anthem, or do you have to have a certain levels of melanin in you? This is what makes it so stupid. So you're basically trying to make people feel as if I'm going to identify with something that is the antithesis of the unifying theme of a national anthem. The beautiful thing about the national anthem is that it is the national anthem for all of us Americans. And I don't care if you're Muslim, I don't care if you're Black, I don't care even if you're a redhead, it doesn't matter. You're American, you're American. You could be Native. You could be an Indian. I'm abandoning Native American. You can be an Indian, or you could be an Indian, and you still are American as long as you're a citizen of this country. You could be Spanish. I don't care, and no Americans actually really care. Certainly, in the vast majority of us, don't care. But the point to this song and having something that you're going to label as being the Black national anthem is to say, no. We want you to turn your backs on your regular American status and identify as you are special. You are different. You are part of this subculture of Black Americans. As if because you're Black, you have some sort of deeper tie to African heritage. Like that's because you're much more like some tribe, some Zulu tribesmen than you are than some Latino who lives down the block from you. You have much more similarity to them. Why? I don't know. No one knows. But because you're Black. Because you're Black. Why would you want to poison the minds of our youth into thinking that you're less than American? You're not quite as American. The actual national anthem, that's not for you. That's not for you. No, that's for them. That's for them. What a poisonous, backward, stupid, self-defeating victim mentality that is. It's so awful, and it becomes self-fulfilling. It's a very self-fulfilling thing. Your mindset leads you into a direction that you're basically walking like, well, what can I do? I'm a Black American. What can I do? I'm just a Black American. It's a way of creating excuses which saps the inner human drive, the natural human drive, being like, you know what? I'm going to overcome the odds, which that's what every human deals with, not just Black people. Every human deals with that I'm going to overcome the odds. In fact, that's the beauty of a national anthem, that it's I'm going to overcome the odds. And this is basically saying, no, not me. I'm Black American. So I'm going to sing a song about lifting voices. I'm going to sing it along with the Black people over here. God help any white person, any Asian person, any Hispanic person who joins in this song here, because this is the Black national anthem, not for you guys. This is for us, we the oppressed over here, who are perpetually oppressed. We always have been oppressed, always will be oppressed. I've been oppressed. My grandparents were oppressed. My great-grandchildren will be oppressed. Everyone's oppressed. We're the kings of oppression, of being oppressed. God, what a terrible, terrible self-destructive mentality. And the self-destruction mentality is purposeful. It's designed. This is where you have elitists who basically say, oh, this is how we can help create and embed division. That forever there's going to be division. Forever, you're never going to be unified because you have your national anthem, and then you have the people who have their national anthem because they know they're not really part of you. They know they're not really part of you. Such a terribly self-destructive perspective. Makes me sick. It's like, why? And like I said, the song itself, standing on its own, it's kind of a pretty song. She sang it well. It's got a talented singer. But the concept of a black national anthem, it doesn't harm me. It doesn't harm non-black people. It doesn't harm me other than the fact that there's added division in the country. So that harms all of us. But the biggest victims of this is the black community themselves and the messaging that they give to their youth and the next generation and the generation after that and the generation after that. The very people, this is so part of everything baked into democratic principles. The very people who are the most damaged by their policies are the people who their policies are aimed towards benefiting. Invariably. There's no exception that I've ever come across yet where they come across. I know this was come up with some woke leftist, stupid, ridiculous perspective, like, oh, this is giving them their own song. Oh, are they going to be much happier now because they have their own song where they're not actually really Americans because they're not Americans like the rest of us. And they've had their own special, unique oppression. And they have to, when you're looking historically, you look at what happened, how their great-great-grandparents were treated. Sure as hell, yeah, that was sucked for the ones who were here 5 generations ago. Frankly, I think a great deal of black people who are living here, their parents probably, they got a bunch of ancestors who probably were not slaves. But let's assume that every one of them comes as a direct lineage from slavery. So now you basically say for the next 1,000 years, everyone who ever comes from them. Oh, well, there you go. What can you do? Your life sucks. Life sucks. So destructive. Martin Luther King is rolling in his grave. Rolling in his grave. So 12-year-olds be like, my voice just cracked. Well, time to go beat the U.S. women's soccer team. Imagine being the pain of being told your anthem is this extremely gay song. Like I said, I don't even think this song is that bad. Standing on its own. If you just told me, if someone wrote this song and sang this song and didn't attach the label Black National Anthem to it, I'd be like, all right. It's the label that makes it so terrible. Gauge me with a freaking fork. I support and follow you on Rumble Locals, but I did not receive notification when you do these shows or announcements. Why not? I don't know why not. I've been really good about always posting on Locals. If you have your Locals notifications turned on, you'll see when I'm in there. And it's like, I'm really good. It's with rare exception that I'll even open my mouth in there before I post in Locals at goodlogic.locals.com. And you don't have to be a paying member to get those notifications. Anyone for free. Just hit join and you don't have to pay any money and you'll get notifications when I'm on X, when I'm going live here, when I'm appearing anywhere else. You will, anytime I'm doing anything orally on social media, you will, or visually, orally or visually on social media, you'll find me there. You'll get a notification about it at goodlogic.locals.com. While you're here, if you can like, share, and subscribe, drop a comment. I'm curious, drop a comment below. Do you think that the Black National Anthem is as destructive as I labeled it? So I think it's terrible. Also, X, I don't see when you do spaces there. We got that. I don't know. I always post it. Now, that seems to visit AF in its existence. Yeah, it is. Pop Warner is Pee Wee football with pads and helmets, you goof. Oh, I don't know. I don't know this stuff. Have you heard anything about Shapiro, Biden, and Ray conspiring and Shapiro paying for the assassination attempt on Trump in Pennsylvania? I'm glad you brought this up, Lily. Someone shared a post with me about it, and from what I read, it was total bunk. There was a woman named Hadassah Feinberg. Apparently, what Lily is referencing here, and those of you who are not familiar with it, I'll spend 3 minutes on this because I think that some of you may have seen this, may have heard this. So let me share it with you what was shared with me. And I was like, no, this is stupid. So, no, what was it? There it is. I found it. Oh, this was deleted. This Facebook post that was sent to me was deleted properly, so. Let's see if I can find my other thing on it. Mhm. All right, I'll do a quick search and see because the link I have here was a thread that disappeared. Apparently, a thread that disappeared. Shapiro. It's a claim that Shapiro was behind the Butler attack. There it is. Josh Dunlap reporting on it. I warn you all about grifters. I warn you about grifters. I warn you about grifters. MAGA grifters, okay? Who basically will share ridiculous stuff without vetting whether or not this makes sense or whether this is stupid or whether it's logical, okay? I'm not saying Dunlap is a grifter. I'm simply saying this story is a grift. So I don't know Dunlap, okay? I've seen his name. I'm not labeling him. I don't know enough about him to say he's a grifter or not. But I'm just going to tell you this. It was a federal whistleblower filed a criminal complaint on February 7, 2025, alleging Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's involvement in an assassination attempt on Trump. It alleges that Christopher Wray conspired with the Biden administration to hide the reports. The Butler County DA's office is currently investigating these allegations. They're not investigating crap. No arrest official charges against Shapiro have been confirmed by official sources. No lists are going to come. Yeah, okay. Even the way he worded this, that's kind of sus there. Mayor of Macedonia. Oh, this has a very grifty type of feel to it, and I don't mean that in the cool way. Yeah, okay. So if you read the actual affidavit, but basically it's this woman named Hadassah Feinberg who put in an affidavit. He's done all sorts of crimes and he tried killing it. And in Pennsylvania, there's a quirk in the law that where even a citizen can charge with a crime. There are a few states that have this. I think Ohio has something similar, where it's like you can push the DA into filing charges. So yeah, apparently it's someone who basically says Josh Shapiro has committed thousands of crimes, and amongst them are, and it basically reads like some lunatic manifesto. Who, look, there's a lot of reasons to hate Josh Shapiro. And do I think he's corrupt? Yes. Do I think he's probably committed thousands of crimes? Yes. Do I think that anyone is going to charge him with thousands of crimes? I think you're out of your bloody mind if you think anyone's charging with any crimes. Because some citizen said, yeah, I think he tried. I think he was definitely involved in the Thomas Crook's attempted assassination on Trump, and he was the cover up, and these guys, and his police are covering up with him, and there's a whole conspiracy going. You sound like a lunatic. It sounds like lunacy. I'm not saying you, Lily. You don't think you sound like a lunatic. I'm saying that when you read the affidavit, and I did read through enough of it to say, okay, this just sounds like sheer lunacy. And even if it was true, there's no specific facts that are stated to establish the truth of it, which is why that complaint's going nowhere. Like literally no facts. That at this time he met with this person and here's a witness to what they said and the conversation they had there to engage in this conspiracy. Nothing like that. It's just Biden met with Shapiro. The next thing we know, someone tried killing him, and no one can explain how he got there. Stuff all of us know, and basically saying it's Josh Shapiro's fault. So arrest him and throw him in jail for the rest of his life because he's a murderer. It's literally that empty and hollow. So I tell you, Lily, and I'll tell the rest of you who saw that story, don't even give it a second look. It looks stupid. And throw in Chris Wray, and you could throw in Biden, and throw in Nancy Pelosi's also tried killing him. Everyone tried killing him. And would I genuinely rule out and say it's impossible that any of these people did? No, I guess it's definitely possible. But there's zero specific fact allegations, which is why I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh, I can make a show about this. And then I read through it, and I was like, no, I'd be embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed to give this any kind of legs. Couldn't give two craps about another Hollywood trial. And the last one was gag, not gauge. And exactly what nations of blacks have, I don't know. I don't know what a nation of blacks even means. It's literally a hymnal about escaping slavery. It is? I don't know. It went over my head. I nominate Pink Floyd's Money for Jewish Roger Waters hates the Jews. He hates Jews. He really does. Anthem equals unity. Black Anthem is anathema to anthem. Oh, I see what you did there, Janella. I see what you did. Good job. Good job indeed. Nurse Weezer says, off topic, Nancy Mace is a brave hero. God bless her and fight for female victims. If you haven't seen it, make sure you watch her speech she gave today. I haven't seen it yet, but I don't really have time to do it tonight. Joe's giving it away. Ive. And I didn't give it away. Trust me, they paid dearly for it. They paid dearly for it. And also, we hit our target of 15 out of 15. So go figure. Whitney Houston lip-synced her performance. She actually had a pretty special voice. All right. I think that's our show. And overall, it's work I'm proud of. I'm pleased with this. Everything came out well, thank God. All right. Time for me to land my plane. And so it shall be written, so it shall be done. I thank you all for joining me. I am on the cusp of like slipping down under 101,000, which gets me very edgy. So if you can please hit like, share, and subscribe and all that good stuff, share me out with people. Don't hog me for yourself. It's not going to cost you anything. It's like a candle. When you have a candle and you share that flame with others, just more people have light. Spread the light. Spread the light. We share such important insights here, like don't eat lab meat. That's for they, them. It's not for you. Your friends need to know that. Your family needs to know that. Don't they? I mean, you care about them. You want them eating lab meat? They may not realize if they don't watch the show. They may not realize. Don't eat the bugs. Don't eat the bugs. Do not eat the bugs. And that's all I got for you. Have a good night, and as always, Godspeed. Good logic.